The most shocking part, I mean, Caitlin Clark at 1 doesn't surprise anybody. I don't think Angel Reese at 2 is really a surprising. Media rights contract, more salary. Sit down, shut up, and get paid. Ignorance is a big part of this, too.
A'ja Wilson's heart races every time she steps on the court in Indiana. Why? Because that's Caitlin Clark territory. The constant comparisons and media frenzy are driving Wilson crazy. But here's the thing. It's not just about basketball anymore. It's a battle for the soul of the WNBA. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now back to the video. You know what's insane? Caitlin Clark's Wilson basketball sold out in just 30 minutes. That's crazy fast. But wait, it gets even wilder. Some of these balls are now going for $900 on the secondary market. Can you believe that?
We've got the Wilson basketball situation, which some people are saying is a fiasco right now. Wilson sold out their new fever-rising Caitlin Clark basketball in under 30 minutes.
Let's talk about Clark's sudden rise to the top. She's not just making waves, she's causing a tsunami in the WNBA. Clark is the top-selling player in the league right now. Angel Reese is right behind her. And A'ja Wilson, she's sitting at number 5. That's a big change, right? But here's where things get interesting. Not everyone's thrilled about Clark's meteoric rise.
The most shocking part, I mean, Caitlin Clark at 1 doesn't surprise anybody. I don't think Angel Reese at 2 is really a surprising.
Someone's feeling the heat, and it's not who you might expect. The WNBA is about to get shaken up, and you won't want to miss what happens next. Success in the WNBA comes at a price. For A'ja Wilson, it's her peace of mind. How does a player at the top of her game end up feeling like she's losing? You'd think being a 2-time MVP and the first player to score over 1,000 points in a season would be enough to secure your place in the WNBA pantheon. But for A'ja Wilson, it's just not cutting it anymore. The basketball world is shifting beneath her feet, and she's struggling to find her footing.
For the publicity, you're not doing it for the, hey, that's a good guy right there. No, I mean, you're just, that's you, right?
Imagine this. You're at the top of your game, breaking records left and right. Then suddenly, a rookie comes along, and everyone's talking about her instead of you. That's exactly what's happening to Wilson right now. She's feeling mentally exhausted from all the Caitlin Clark comparisons. It's like being told you're only known because of someone else. Talk about a gut punch.
Well, why? She's the best player in the league. Why isn't she the face of the league? Yada, yada, yada. It doesn't matter. This is why it looks like hate. They know the cameras are on Caitlin Clark, but consciously they're not understanding that all the cameras are watching one person.
Wilson actually said, "I felt like I was mentally tired in that whole whirlwind of people constantly saying, 'A'ja, you're only known because of Caitlin.' Can you believe that? A superstar player feeling like she's living in someone else's shadow. That's gotta sting. But it gets even crazier." Wilson admitted she dreaded being in Indiana. Not because of the city or anything, but because that's Clark territory. The pressure is so intense that one of the league's best players is anxious about playing in a specific arena. That's how much the Clark effect is impacting the WNBA landscape. Here's where things get really heavy. Wilson opened up about the negativity Black women face in the league. She said, "It really has. You constantly have to live in that life for 4 months, and over time it's just, ugh." Wilson feels like all this comparison and scrutiny strips us from the genuine happiness and pureness and love of the game.
Continuously. It's an activist basketball league, and they act like they're mad and protesting all the time. Media rights contract, more salary. Sit down, shut up, and get paid. Ignorance is a big part of this, too.
That's some deep stuff right there. You know what's wild? Despite all this mental turmoil, Wilson's still supporting Clark publicly. She knows how tough it is to be a rookie in the spotlight. Wilson said, "She's just being who she is, and that's all you can ever ask for." That's some real sportsmanship right there, especially when you're dealing with your own struggles. But here's the thing. This isn't just about A'ja Wilson and Caitlin Clark. It's about the whole WNBA and how we treat these incredible athletes. The constant comparisons, the media frenzy, the pressure to always be on top. It's taking a toll on players' mental health. And when race gets thrown into the mix, that's a whole other level of complexity. Ever wonder how a single rookie can turn the WNBA upside down? Caitlin Clark's arrival isn't just changing the game, it's reshaping how we talk about women's basketball. But as the media hype machine kicks into overdrive, we're seeing some unexpected fallout. The media's gone wild with this A'ja Wilson versus Caitlin Clark narrative. They're painting it like some epic showdown, but here's the thing, it might not even be real. These two incredible players are getting caught up in a story that's spiraling out of control. Think about it. Wilson's a two-time MVP, breaking records left and right. Then Clark shows up, and suddenly, it's like Wilson's old news. That's gotta mess with your head, right?
To be honest with you, after starting to consume this league, I see a lot of it. I mean, we've already seen and we know how these players feel about Caitlin Clark, even though she's making them a ton of money.
Wilson's feeling the heat, trying to defend her top spot while this rookie's getting all the attention, but don't think Clark's got it easy. She's stepping into the big leagues with a mountain of expectations on her shoulders. Everyone's watching, waiting to see if she'll live up to the hype. That's a lot of pressure for anyone, let alone a rookie. You know what's really crazy? This isn't just about two players. It's shining a light on how we treat women in sports, especially when race comes into play. Wilson opened up about the negativity black women face in the league. That's some heavy stuff, and it's making us take a hard look at how we talk about these athletes. The media's not holding back. They're constantly comparing Wilson and Clark, trying to stir up drama. It's like they're creating a rivalry out of thin air. And guess what? It's affecting both players in ways we might not even realize. Wilson's feeling so much pressure that she actually said she dreaded playing in Indiana. Can you believe that? One of the league's best players getting anxious about stepping onto a specific court. That's how intense this whole situation has become. But here's where it gets interesting. Despite all this craziness, both Wilson and Clark are showing some serious class. Wilson's been supporting Clark publicly, even while dealing with her own struggles. She knows how tough it is to be in the spotlight as a rookie. You gotta give it to these players. They're handling this media circus like true pros. They're proving that real champions can rise above all the noise and just focus on their game. But let's be real, this situation is far from perfect. The constant comparisons, the media frenzy, the pressure to always be on top. It's taking a toll on these players' mental health. And when you throw race into the mix, that's a whole other level of complexity that needs to be addressed. So what does all this mean for the WNBA? Well, it's definitely stirring things up. More people are talking about women's basketball, which is great. But we've got to ask ourselves, at what cost? Are we putting too much pressure on these players? Are we creating rivalries that don't need to exist? Remember when women's basketball was just a footnote in sports news? Those days are gone. The WNBA's on fire, and everyone's talking. But there's a catch, and it's a big one. This spotlight's got a dark side, and it's hitting some players harder than others. The WNBA is experiencing a surge like never before. Record ratings, packed arenas. It's a whole new ball game. More eyes on the league mean more opportunities for everyone. It's not just about the players. It's about the entire WNBA ecosystem growing and thriving. But you know what they say, with great power comes great responsibility. And boy, is the WNBA feeling that right now. The league's dealing with some serious growing pains. We're talking about issues of representation, media bias, and the immense pressure on its stars. It's like the WNBA's going through puberty, and it ain't pretty. Take the whole A'ja Wilson and Caitlin Clark situation. The media's turned it into this epic showdown, and it's putting a ton of pressure on both players. Wilson's feeling the heat, trying to defend her top spot while Clark's getting all the attention. And Clark? She's stepping into the big leagues with a mountain of expectations on her shoulders. That's a lot for anyone to handle, let alone a rookie. But here's where it gets interesting. All this drama, it might actually be good for the WNBA. Yeah, you heard that right. This competition is pushing players to new heights. They're breaking records, setting new standards, and giving fans something to really get excited about. Think about it. Wilson became the first player in league history to score over 1,000 points in a season. That's insane. And Clark? She broke the single-season assist record and set a new rookie scoring mark. These players are rewriting the history books, and fans are loving every minute of it. But it's not all sunshine and rainbows. The increased attention is shining a light on some uncomfortable truths. Wilson opened up about the negativity black women face in the league. She said it strips us from the genuine happiness and pureness and love of the game. That's some heavy stuff, and it's making us take a hard look at how we treat these athletes. So what does all this mean for the future of the WNBA? Well, it's complicated. On one hand, the league's never been more popular. More people are talking about women's basketball, which is awesome. But on the other hand, we've got to ask ourselves, at what cost? Are we putting too much pressure on these players? Are we creating rivalries that don't need to exist? These are tough questions, but they're ones we need to answer if we want the WNBA to keep growing in a healthy way. Despite all the challenges, there's reason to be optimistic. Players like Wilson and Clark are proving that they can handle the pressure. They're not just surviving in this new era of the WNBA, they're thriving. And in doing so, they're paving the way for the next generation of stars. You know what's really cool? These players are showing that you can be competitive on the court and supportive off it. Even with all the media-hyped rivalry, Wilson's been publicly supporting Clark. She knows how tough it is to be in the spotlight as a rookie. That's the kind of sportsmanship that can really elevate the league. Let's talk about the bigger picture here. This isn't just about Caitlin Clark or A'ja Wilson. It's about all the incredible athletes in the WNBA. Each player has their own unique journey and challenges. We need to support them all, not just the latest sensation. A'ja Wilson said it best. It's exhausting to constantly live in that life for 4 months. That's real talk right there. These players are putting everything on the line for the sport they love. We gotta appreciate that. You know what's crazy? The way we treat these athletes can make or break their careers. As fans, we've got a big role to play. We can create a more supportive environment for all WNBA players. But how do we do that? That's the million-dollar question. It's time we started thinking about it.